If you continue to resist, we will have to order an investigation into every single event, or the Grand Sage has already granted you much leniency. I advise that you exercise tact.
How did things turn out? Traveler? You don't have to get involved. He's a sage from the
Traveler?
Traveler? What the heck are you doing? If you get arrested by the academia, that's another... Wait, they're not reacting. Have they been scared stiff? Oh, of course! If this is the sage's plan, they wouldn't put themselves through this. So they're just substitutes.
What is this? What happened to the Grand Sage and his entourage? Like I said, they symbolize the goddess of flowers. It's just a shame that all the real Tσdσs went extinct after her death.
Yes. The Greater Lord brought forth new Tσdσs in memory of the goddess of flowers. But she ultimately could never truly replicate that beautiful shade of purple.
That beautiful shade of purple. Aren't these flowers real Tσdσs? Just like the ones from the legend? I didn't even notice. Dεяεcnσs, did you find these?
But didn't you just say all the real flowers went extinct after the goddess of flowers passed away?
Yeah. What's going on here? You guys are acting weird. But okay. Hey!
They disappeared! So Nilou's the host! What a surprise! Purple Tσdσs don't exist in the real world anymore. But in Nilou's subconscious, they can appear as decorations on the stage. It's just like the example Nahida told us. People assume there will be food on a plate, and Nilou assumed there would be real Tσdσs in the flower pot. So when you saw the flowers, you instantly knew it was Nilou? But if we want to end the samsara, we need the host to become aware. How should we make Nilou realize?
Am I dreaming?
Huh?
So I'm right. Is this Lesser Lord Kusanali responding to our celebration of the sun?
Wrong guess, but you aren't completely wrong either. The point is, what made you think this is a dream? As far as you know, people in Sumeru don't dream, right?
Yeah, but have you heard the tale of the first sage? To prevent a calamity, he went on a journey to find the Dendroark.
Ooh, sounds familiar. Dεyaecnсs told us a story like that when we first arrived in Sumeru.
Yep. But in the part you heard, he hadn't become the first sage. His piety and wisdom were acknowledged by the Dendroark. All kinds of spectacular scenes appeared in front of the first sage, as if all the knowledge in the world was being painted onto a canvas right before him. He was captivated. After who knows how long, he mastered all the knowledge he could comprehend. Afterward, he said to the Dendroark, I miss my parents, my wife, and my children. I've been away from home for far too long. They must be worried. The Dendroark smiled. The next second, the sage found himself lying in his bed. His wife, lying next to him, said, You're off to search for the Dendroark today, aren't you? Have a safe journey, my love. In the end, the first sage took care of many disasters in Sumeru City.
So, the first sage was dreaming ever since the beginning of the story? He never went on his journey?
Yes, but his faith and determination were conveyed.
Paimon understands where you're coming from now. That's a really interesting connection. But we really gotta wake up soon, like the sage in the story.
I see. Well, it just so happens that today's Tσdσs festival is almost over too. Since we're in a dream, let's make this final dance of Tσdσs as beautiful as we can. The wait is over, everyone. I dedicate this to our god, the dance of Tσdσs.
I'd be lying if I said I had no regrets. I would have loved to see Nilou's dance.
Traveler. Oh, Paimon feels like she's been asleep for the longest time. Paimon's head feels super heavy. Did we oversleep? Paimon thinks it was after the Tσdσs festival. Have we finally escaped from the Sumero samsara? Quick, take off your Akasha terminal. She's not in her room. What happened? Huh? What usual spot? Well done, Traveler and Paimon. And thank you, Dεяεcnσs, for organizing the Tσdσs festival for me.
I'm sorry, who are...
Dεяεcnσs! You're okay!
Oh, a Traveler, Paimon. I have something I just had a dream. And I saw Nilou performing the dance of Sumero.
Paimon felt like Catherine was acting weird when we met at the Tσdσs festival. And Dεyaecnσs, did you save her? It's a really long story. We shouldn't disturb her. Her consciousness is still weakened. Let's chat somewhere else. How about by the Traveler's favorite bench? Dεяεcnσs first. It's such a relief that she's all right.
After we parted on the last day of the Tσdσs festival, I left the city and saw what the traveler had described. Among the countless dreams, I found one that was growing fainter and fainter. This proved my suspicion. Once Dεяεcnσs could no longer bear the Akasha harvesting her dreams, her consciousness began to dissipate. But this also meant it escaped the Akasha's control. Such a small fragment of consciousness can't last for very long, though. It will return to its original, where both will gradually fade until they completely disappear. I used all the power I had to keep her dying dream alive as long as possible. But it still wouldn't have lasted for much longer if it hadn't been for you two break.
So it looks like we did manage to save Dεяεcnσs in the end. And not a moment.
Huh? Why are you two smiling so happily? I thought you'd be so moved that you'd start crying.
Both are fine. Everyone reacts differently.
All right. You two must have a lot of other questions for me, right? After all, you saved my faithful...
At the Avidia forest, there was this incense that made the traveler fall unconscious and dream of a huge tree and a red sky.
You also heard someone's voice, right? It said world and forget me.
Yeah, so you do know. We've been wanting to ask you what that was about.
It seems like the traveler established a connection to Irminsul. That was a message left by Greater Lord Rukkhadevata's residual consciousness in Irminsul. As you two probably know, Greater Lord Rukkhadevata disappeared after the disaster in Conria. The timings of these events do line up, so your suspicions are reasonable.
A message from Greater Lord Rukkhadevata?
We thought the Scarlet King? That god who died even longer ago? Some present-day desert dwellers still worship...
Okay, so what does the...
I still haven't managed to decipher it. Even the Akasha isn't currently... Greater Lord Rukkhadevata's residual consciousness in Irminsul seems to be contaminated with something that has a very dangerous aura to it. Many devoted scholars go mad as soon as they connect their consciousness. But I believe this is the key to saving Irminsul. That's why I've kept trying.
So the tree in the vision was Irminsul? Oh, Tighnari also said that Irminsul is sick! Is it because of the But even if you can't figure out what that vision was all about,
it's... The traveler wasn't affected after coming in contact with that consciousness. I've never seen anyone like that. With you here, we may have a chance at deciphering it. No, we must decipher its secrets. I've already eliminated all other factors that might affect Irminsul. This is the only one left. This puzzle has life and death at stake. It could determine Irminsul's fate, as well as Teyvat's. To be accurate, I'm using the Akasha as a medium to occupy Catherine's consciousness.
How did you do that? Poor Catherine. Does this mean you can also occupy other people's consciousnesses?
Theoretically, I can enter anyone's mind as long as they're wearing their Akasha terminal. The Akasha is the legacy of Greater Lord Rukkhadevata. As Lesser Lord Kusanali and the first Akasha terminal, my consciousness has always been linked to the Akasha. I've always respected my people's free will, so I've never actually occupied their consciousness. When necessary, I just borrow this bionic cσrчяigντ puppet.
Hold on. Did we just learn some deep, dark secret? So Catherine is... No wonder Paimon felt something was off about her. What about your own body? Why do you need to borrow other people's? Don't you live in the sanctuary of Surasthana?
That story begins a long time ago. After Greater Lord Rukkhadevata disappeared, the sages found my newly born self and took me back to Sumero. At that time, I was young and weak. The sages kept me in the sanctuary of Surasthana, ostensibly for the sake of protecting me. But I've hardly heard from them since. However, I do understand that they had hoped to find Greater Lord Rukkhadevata instead of me.
So, the sages basically put their new Archon under house arrest? How dare they! Why don't you teach them a lesson, Nahida?
In some ways, they aren't wrong. Greater Lord Rukkhadevata was omniscient and omnipotent. Even after her and I'm still really far away from being able to call myself the God of Wisdom. Moreover, the Academia...
Yeah, you got a lot of believers. Just look at the Sumeri's festival. Everyone who showed up truly loves you.
Thank you for the kind words. But I honestly don't need physical freedom as long as I can connect my consciousness to the Akasha. Trying to find a way to save Irminsul is my life's mission and top priority. I will work on that, and try to live up to being a deity in the every once in a while, I will also take up the duties of the God of Wisdom, and enlighten a lost soul here and there. There has never been any big problems with the Academia's governance of Sumeru. This is the first time I've seen them step out of line. I wonder what caused them to go down this path, and what they hope. Even though the city's residents haven't noticed anything strange, I tried to do some investigating in the Akasha, but I couldn't find any. I think they're deliberately trying to hide something.
Oh, that reminds Paimon. In Gandharvaville, there was a sage who had invited Kynarite to join.
Regardless, I need to first investigate the sage's motives, make things right, and punish them if needed. You mean how the Akasha stops you from having dreams?
Yeah, it's been such a long time. No one...
It's not that no one noticed. It's more like no one cared. Ultimately, it's all rooted in misdirection? The sages convinced everyone to believe that being unable to dream is a sign of rationality and wisdom. Not dreaming is a badge of honor, even if the truth is that their dreams are being reaped by the Akasha. With their propaganda in place, the sages can maximize their use of the Akasha to facilitate. Besides, Greater Lord Rukkhadevata must have created the Akasha in the hopes that it could be used to its full potential. That's why I've never come out strongly. Anyway, the perspective by now, even those who never use Akasha terminals find it too shameful and embarrassing to talk on it. I hope my answers were satisfactory, Seeker. To be honest, maintaining Dunyarzad's fading dream took a lot of mental energy. I think I may need to rest for a while. Oh, and you don't need to worry too much about the sage's activities for now. The Akasha won't be able to conduct another project on the scale of the Tσdσs.
Go and get some sleep. Leave everything to us.
What a relief. This is truly the most exhausting birthday I've ever had.
Traveler? Paimon? Why am I here? Do either of you know?
Maybe you were sleepwalking. You know you can't wake up a sleepwalker. We
I see. Huh. I should visit my maintenance personnel sometime. Oh, I'm fine. I better... Traveler, you've come at a good time.
Wait, your commission?
It is as you say. The commission this time around is of high importance. It pertains to the safety of the Avidia forests and...
Huh? What happened?
Not long ago, we received word that a section of the Avidia forest seems to have become...
Contaminated? You mean a new withering zone?
I don't know about the specifics, but I hear that strange things are happening to people who cross through that region. The Avidia forest inhabitants won't leave their homes so easily. If we allow this contaminated region to expand, the consequences could be unimaginable. That's why I want to ask you to investigate the situation. Even if all you can do is stop the contamination from spreading, that will still save many people.
This is forest business. Maybe Tighnari will know something. Let's go find him. This is where you've been, Tighnari? That's...
Shh! Keep your voice down.
Tighnari, everything's spinning. Am I going to die? Tell Mom that I should have listened to her. And tell Suna that I'm sorry for breaking her toy. I didn't tell her because I was scared that she wouldn't play with me anymore. Tighnari, I heard that people turn into birds after they die. Is that true? I feel like I'm getting lighter.
What happened? Tighnari, is he?
Okay, enough nonsense. You just have a small fever. Take your medication and rest. You'll be bouncing off the walls in no time.
Really? Then, can you keep the thing about the toy a secret for now?
No can do. You're a big kid now. Once you've recovered, go and apologize. Keeping secrets to yourself won't solve anything.
Oh.
Hey, let me ask you something. I recall that you're usually pretty healthy. How did you get this sick all of a sudden?
I don't know either. Mom's been telling me not to play in the forest. I just wanted to look inside. It's different from before. I got lost and went around in a huge circle. After I got out, I started feeling dizzy.
Could it be?
So that's how this whole mess happened. Anyway, go rest. No running around until I say so, got it? Traveler, Paimon, let's step out for now.
Mr. Forest Watcher, how is my son?
I gave him some antipyretics. Let him rest here for a while. I told him that he would feel better after some medicine and rest, but I only said that to comfort him. His symptoms resemble a fever, but something else is causing them. They seem more akin to a disruption in his psyche. Antipyretics won't be of much use.
What do we do? Mr. Forest Watcher, you have to help him.
If memory serves, A plant called Vasanti grass can help soothe the mind. A small number grow in arid deserts. They usually look like shriveled weeds, but can be revitalized with a splash of water. They're expensive and unable to grow in the Avidya forest's climate, so I don't have any on hand. I'll ask the caravans. Go find Kale, have her prepare medicinal tools and a set of traveling gear for me.
All right. Thank you.
Contaminated region, huh? Is that why you two are also here?
Yep. Is it a new withering zone?
Doesn't seem like one. Whether you look at scale, internal conditions, or resultant effects, they're completely different. The only thing they have in common is that they aren't welcome. This nuisance made itself home in the Avidya forest.
We feel the same way.
All right. Let's contact the caravans first and purchase some Vasanti grass. There's no time to waste. We have to move. Excuse me, I'd like to purchase some Vasanti grass. Do you—
I'm sorry, Mr. Forest Watcher, but we've been closed for the past few days.
Closed? Now that's odd. It's my first time hearing you say something like that.
It's a long story. Some of our goods were stolen recently. They were mechanical parts that we got from the academia. Although they're old models, they still fetch a good price on the market. Our caravans had to pull together Mora to afford those parts. Now that they've been lost, we'll likely come up short this trip. All the merchants talked it over, and we decided to raise the prices of our remaining inventory. Until this plan takes effect, none of us can privately sell anything.
I don't get it. If these goods are so important, then why not think of a way to get them back? Raising prices won't solve anything. At best, you're shoving the consequences of the robbery onto your customers.
Mr. Forest Watcher, it's not that we don't want to. It's just the thief disappeared into the deepest parts of— We asked around, and apparently the forest has been very unusual as of late. Anyone who goes in experiences mental anomalies. We can't keep waiting out here for the thief to come out. All we could do is come up with another solution.
So the bandit hid in the contaminated region after stealing those mechanical parts. How many people were there in total? Were they not affected by the contaminated region?
That crook came from the contaminated region. As for how many, there weren't any people.
No people?
Even if I tell you, you might not believe me. Fine. The thief that stole our parts was a huge mechanical crab!
What the heck? The Avidya forest has creatures like that?
To be honest, I'd rather not think about it. It moved too skillfully to be new at this. It came out of nowhere. Before we could react, it swiped our goods and ran away. We were all shocked. By the time we came to our senses, the thief—
I see. If we help you retrieve your stolen goods, then business will return to normal?
Oh, but of course! Not only that, but you'll become one of our caravan's VIPs on all future purchases of any—
Enough. Tell me something that's actually useful. Any leads on that mechanical crab?
Maybe one. After our goods were stolen, we specifically got someone to assess the situation. If you're interested, you can go and talk to them.
All right. We'll go and have a word.
After the goods were stolen, I made multiple inquiries with nearby caravans and residents. It turns out that many others have also been robbed by that crooked crab. However, crab only seems to be interested in machinery. It doesn't even bat an eye at other valuables. The caravan carrying a large amount of mora had an uneventful trip, but another caravan had a child whose metal toy was taken. Whatever the case, that thing is a scourge. We'll eventually think of a way to get rid of it.
That mechanical crab is fast, strong, and 10 of us might not even be able to take that thing head on. Didn't academia ban research on mechanical life forms here? Our salaries even got slashed because of it. Who would have thought that that robber wasn't a human, but a mechanic?
I heard from the caravanners that there have been a lot of robberies lately, but we haven't been affected. We don't normally see the mechanical crab, and it doesn't disturb our daily lives. It only shows up when the caravans are here, and it runs back to the contaminated region after it's done making a mess.
You haven't tried capturing it?
We have, but it's too agile and fast. However, we did unexpectedly learn something the last time we tried to capture it. It apparently lives in the deepest part of the forest. So, instead of immediately moving its spoils, it first hides them nearby. Once its stash grows large enough, it moves everything in one go. You'll have to move fast.
How are things? Did you make any progress?
We learned of its behaviors, but much still remains unclear. Assuming normal operational status, mechanical constructs generally act according to their given commands. If I were its owner, I'd command it to steal more valuable things. Or the mora you made. That would be the most efficient method. But it only goes after mechanical components. This doesn't make any sense.
Right. It's really weird.
So, you all found a way to retrieve our goods?
Do you have any more mechanical parts with you?
Yes, I still have a small bag of samples. They weren't taken since I keep them on me at all times. Oh, are you planning to...
Under constant external conditions, organisms rarely initiate changes in their habits. Here's what we know so far. It has a mechanical composition, it lives in the contaminated region, and it comes out to steal mechanical components. If we have said components, we can lure it out, capture it, and then make observations for further conclusions. Well, chatting like this won't get us anywhere. We're only wasting time.
You're right. We don't have any other options right now. This bag of samples is all yours, Mr. Forest Watcher. If you can get our goods back, the caravans will reward you generously.
We don't need anything in return, but I'll be keeping this bag. We'll also need to borrow a sumpter beast. Our act has to be convincing if we want the crab to fall for it.
Oh yeah, no problem at all. If it means getting our things back, you can even borrow me to do whatever you need.
I'll have to decline that offer. Anyway, we'll use the mechanical components and once it appears, capture it. I leave the timing to you.
Don't worry, we're professionals.